Hey everybody, this is Zenner coming at you with something a little bit different. So Chris from the Chaos Engine podcast and I have been buddies for some time. There was another project I worked on a while ago and him and I started chatting and it's a whole story and we go over it a little bit in the conversation. But he reached out to me and said, hey, you want to do an interview? And I said, well, why not just you and I chat for a couple hours? You know, we certainly have enough in common to to chat for hours on end. And he's a cool guy. We have lots in common. In this conversation, we talk about different horror projects we really like, movies, music, the ways that we come up with our creative ideas and DMing styles, player styles, and et cetera, yada, yada. So, yeah, if you guys like this content, make sure to let us know and, hopefully we'll make more. I'm sure we will. And at some point, I think it'd be really cool to do a collaboration of some kind. I'd had the idea. I haven't actually talked to him about this or really anybody. So you guys are the first to hear this idea. But I thought it would be really fun to do a player swap at some point. Maybe a couple of Chris's players, do a one shot that I run and Sadesky and Dubois go over and play a game with him. And just to shake things up a little bit for everybody. I don't know if we'll ever do that, okay? I'm spitballing ideas out into the world, but, join the Discord. Let us know if you think that's a good idea. Maybe we'll try to make it happen. But also, if you just like this type of content, join the Discord and let us know that you like it. But besides that, yeah, I will leave a link down below to Chris's show, the Chaos Engine podcast. Go check that out. Give them some love. If you like the type of stuff that we do, you'll certainly like the type of stuff that they do. It's similar, but a little bit different. And also, I have a small cameo in their most recent 13th Age stuff. You'll know it right away when you listen, I'm sure. The guy talking like the ghouls from Fallout, yeah, that one was me, and I'm sure I didn't have to tell anybody that. But either way, please enjoy this conversation and enjoy your weekend. This is going up on a Saturday, so hopefully your weekend is beautiful and you're unburdened by the shackles of work. And yeah, I'll leave it there and we will chat Tuesday for the next episode of Suffer Not. See you there.
Howdy, everybody. My name's Chris. I'm with the Chaos Engine podcast, and we're doing a little bit of different style of interview episode this time. It's going to be a collab with a very cool cat who I've got to know over the years, and I'll let him introduce himself and where he's from. And then we'll hop into this little bad boy. Who's here with me?
Hey, this is Cody Zenner from Suffer Not, brought to you by Old Parasol Productions.
Oh.
And yeah, I worked on a different project many moons ago and met this, beautiful weirdo. And, we've kept in touch over the years. And here we are, both talking about things we're working on.
Yeah, I remember when you guys did your original project, just reaching out randomly. And I think it was like through the Discord talking with you and whatnot. You seem like a really cool cat. And obviously that show fell apart. And I was very excited to see you continue on because I think you have a really cool way of telling stories. And I think, especially with what you got going on with Suffer Not, I think there's a very cool pacing to it where it feels that there's always like tension in the air because you're very good at the pauses and like letting things kind of draw out to where it's almost uncomfortable at points. And I think it's a really cool feature that you got going on with you guys got going on so far.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's always a balance. It's a balancing act. Obviously, I'm sure you know, right? Do you let the person talk for 10 excruciating minutes about the inside of their character's apartment, or do you cut 80% of that? Like I recently had to edit down an episode. Dubois, it was his like solo, Birdie's day off episode. And I swear to God, there literally was like 15 minutes explaining how the inside of his apartment looked like. And I'm like, it's all great. I can see it, but I don't think we need this much.
But that's great that he's like putting that much thought into his character. That always makes me happy as a GM when a player has that level of detail of their character. Like I know Jake on our show, when he was building his first character, he had so much detail and depth that he was going into. I'm like, I just hope we can get to this in the story, and like we can get to this and make sure we touch upon all this stuff, because you've built such an elaborate story for him. So,
wow. Well, and it's better than the alternative where you have somebody that puts in like no effort at all.
Right.
That was the really big thing that took like me so long to get another show like this rolling, was finding people who, I mean, I think we've talked about this before, where they need to show up, they need to take it seriously, they need to sound good on mic and role play and all that stuff. And it's just hard. It's really hard to find people who kind of fit all of those criteria. And especially, with like what we're doing from the start, like one of my goals is I would love to be able to do this creative shit for a living. Mm-hmm. And so that's why, like, right off the bat, it's, the way that we formatted it, but also trying to find somebody that'll help like edit.
Right.
I don't have the money to pay somebody else to edit. Editing takes a lot of time.
It does.
So, can I find somebody who will help edit? Fortunately, I have really good people who just all around, and how do you guys do your editing? Do you guys do all of it like in-house?
Yeah, I do all of it.
Really?
I do everything. Okay. I recently stopped writing most of the music because I have such an elaborate back catalog of like royalty-free music I've bought. So I started playing that. But for the first arc we did, that was all music I wrote. I wrote the intro and I do all the editing and everything. When we switch over to Tyler running God's Teeth for Delta Green, he's going to take over the editing for that stuff. So, but yeah, like you said, like the big part for me is I did a couple actual play podcasts back in the day. None of them really took off. And I was just kind of content with like, I think I'm done. Like, I don't need to do this anymore. And then I started getting kind of the itch again. I was like, I kind of want to do this, but I want to take it seriously. Like, I want to figure out good audio quality. Like, that's always been something I've never been able to really achieve. I feel like we did this time. But yeah, and then I started a game with our group, just playing Pathfinder 2e. I'm like, I think there's something here. Like, this is a really good group. I basically took all my favorite players and put them together in a group. And we're like, this is who I want to play with if I'm going to play a game. Like, they will always be invited. They'll always get first pick of a game, yes or no. I was like, let's see if they are interested in doing it. And yeah, we just kind of evolved, and we've never taken things super serious. It's always been like, yeah, we're going to do this for fun. And once it's not fun anymore, we're going to stop. So yeah, that kind of helps with us. No one takes it super, super serial. And like, we don't get angry at each other for stuff. It's just, yeah, man, cool. We're going to do this. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Can we do this? Oh, yeah. This is coming up. What can we do to cover? Everyone's really collaborative, and it's nice. It's a good environment like that.
Oh, dude, that's the best. The last project I worked on was not like that, where it was just about everything outside of like writing, the overall story and like the art, right? Like one of those guys did all the artwork for the show, but like the editing, the this, the that, it was a night. So I am very grateful for Sadesky helps with editing.
That's cool.
And some of the other like background businessy stuff.
Yeah.
And also like, now if we need art, I can commission somebody to do it. You know what I mean? I previously couldn't do that without hurting somebody's feelings.
Gotcha. Yeah. Definitely.
So like I like all the music for Suffer Not I do also, but it sounds like you have a much more musical background. What like instruments do you play? Like what's your musical background? I'm really curious about that.
Yeah. So I've been in a couple bands. I sang in like a really shitty pop punk band when I was younger. And then I played bass in a couple punk bands. I played bass in a thrash band for a while. So I'm not good at bass. I can play 4 chords pretty fast and like decently not sloppy. So, but yeah, when COVID hit, I decided that I wanted to explore music more. And so I bought a little MIDI keyboard and I started writing dungeon synth, which if you don't know what dungeon synth is, it's exactly like it sounds. It's like music made to sound like you're in a dungeon. Yep, exactly. Just exactly like that. And so, yeah, it's just like I made an album. I was like, you know what? I'm going to release an album. So I wrote a whole medieval album. And it was
it out?
It is. If you look up Bandit Camp on Bandcamp, you'll see the album there. But the whole idea behind my album was I read this really fucked up story and it took place, I think, Mexico, where this sheriff would basically like take people and be like, hey, if you don't give me a cut of what you're doing, I'm going to kill you and dump you in on this like farmer's property. Like I'm going to kill you, or like I'm going to just drop you in a well and you're going to die there. And so I started like getting this concept of essentially this guy rolling into this town, getting shaken down by the town guard, and then them chasing him down, capturing him, and throwing him in a well. And like it just follows the cycle of that. And there's no lyrics or anything, but I try to like add sound effects of like water splashes and like people crying out for help and like arrows firing and stuff like that, horses. That sounds really cool. And so as I did that, I started kind of writing more stuff. And then I started I knew I wanted to write more music for when we got into doing the podcast. And so I started taking the same keyboard and trying to write like more like spoopy things. And then I started writing a little sci-fi stuff because I was just kind of all over the place. And so I have like a little drum machine. I'm terrible at drums. That's the one thing I can't ever get into a song.
I struggle with that too. Like the small amount of musical background I have is my grandpa was a like rock and roll blues hippie.
Hell
you know, like getting drunk, playing in bars, doing cocaine to sober up, and then getting drunk again, and then the next morning like smoking pot. He started he was a landscaper, and he started his own landscaping business so he could drink and play music and work when he wanted to. And that business is still the business that him and my grandma have.
That's awesome.
40 something years later. Obviously nowadays, they're older, they like contract work out and whatever, but he still plays music. His whole basement is drums, electric drums, guitar, bass,
awesome.
Harmonicas. He's got a bandolier, right? Like a machine gunner's belt of fucking harmonicas and all the different keys and lengths and shit.
That's awesome.
And the one and only tattoo he ever got was of the Rolling Stones, like the tongue.
Nice.
Anyway, so when all the grandkids would go over there, each of them he picked an instrument for. And for me, it was the drums. He sat me down at the drums, whether I wanted to or not. He's like, okay, today we're going to do boom, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba. And he'd like get his guitar and sing and, pick a song that had like a really simple beat. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so now I never had the room or the money for a drum kit. But now, actually, my grandpa gave me his old electric kit.
Nice.
So here and there, I practice. But for the show, I do similar stuff to you. I have my little synth keyboard, and I have my software and whatnot. And I do actually have a harmonica. I used a harmonica for.
Oh, cool! Nice.
I'm terrible at it. I don't have a mouth for it, but I can blow into it and make it sound, eerie or cheery. But for like chapter 1 of Suffer Not, that thunderstorm, mm-hmm. I recorded that thunderstorm, right? And then I played a harmonica. The train I have like a library for, I think. I don't think I recorded that one. But then, putting that all together as a thing. But the chapter 2 one, so not a spoiler, but it takes place in a logging town that's turning into a ghost town, right? Mm-hmm. Over time.
Michigan.
And, Yep, which is a real thing, right? The deforestation of white pines in Michigan was a real thing. Mm-hmm. And anyway, so I had this idea in my head of like the beat being a saw being pulled and then a chop sound effect. And living in a city, it's hard to find like trees I can just hack into, right? So I found a 2x4 in the basement, and dragging along that sounded really good. That's where I got the sound effect, right? Mm. I did that a bunch. I put pictures in the Discord that you probably saw, but that's where I got that. But then trying to chop that sounded terrible. Sounded like I'm hitting a brick.
Oh, I'm sure.
So I have to go outside. I walked around. I found some construction where they just chopped down a tree, and I took a log from there and just bam, bam, bam.
Oh, nice. That's
sounded perfect. But recording, because I live in a city, it's like, there's an airplane overhead. Oh, there's sirens. Oh, there's somebody yelling on the phone. It took like 12 different chops to get 3 good ones,
I love that you do that. Like, I love that you go and do the Foley work. Like, I think that's such a cool thing about your guys' show.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun. It takes time. And there's certain things I don't have access to a Model T, right? Mm-hmm. So I can't go record a Model T. But if there's a scene where Birdie opens the door and steps into a dark room and he hears broken glass beneath his boots, like I'll break fucking glass, in the basement or the garage or something, and I'll step on it and get those sound effects. And then I'll go open a door and like, "Arr," and then you put them together. It's a ton of fun to build that scene for people.
Yeah.
Definitely, work. And I wish I had time to do more of it, but I do what I can. You know
No,
what I mean?
yeah. Like I started adding some sound effects in our Traveler show, and I would, I was doing it, but there's a part of it where our show is very much like Friends at the Table playing, and I was like, am I getting too far away from the ethos and like the spirit of our game by adding these sound effects and like when the ship takes off, adding the rocket boosters and everything? And so I was trying to decide if I like doing that stuff and it was fun, but like, is that what we're going for in our game? You know what I mean? Like our idea for the show. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it's great that you guys do it.
I think I haven't listened to your Traveler show, but I don't think adding sound in my head, I don't think adding sound effects would make it like too realistic or
No, it's not that. It's just more like the vibe we tried to go for was like friends at a table sitting around joking, playing the game. And so it was like, is that taken away? It was just, I probably get in my head about too many things and I get way out there and think about stuff. I'm like, well, but I still add them in there. I still do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think, I don't know. I think it adds a ton. It adds a ton. I honestly don't listen to a ton of podcasts, but like the ones I have listened to, most of them don't do that. They don't add sound effects, right? Maybe they'll add some like copyright free music and whatever, but even like the more serious toned ones don't. I always wanted to, this show especially to sound kind of like an audio drama.
Okay.
Right? Like an old school radio thing, audiobook. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I know what you're trying to say. More produced.
Yeah,
It's more of a, there's much more of a production value to it than just, 4 people sitting at a table talking into a microphone. Like you want to add a little bit more depth to it. So.
Yeah. Well, I want it to be cinematic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But and also like what you had said earlier, it is a pain in the ass to get like good audio equipment in a good sounding room,
Mm-hmm.
like I literally had to donate. I had to donate plasma to pay for like our audio interface and shit like that.
Jeez.
It's expensive stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I just made payments on Amazon for ours. So it's like, I could handle $50 a month for a couple months to get this. That way I don't feel like I've, yeah. Now I had already had the microphones, and that was the one thing I learned from a previous podcast was making sure everyone has the same equipment at the table. Because I would have, 2 of us would have one mic, and then one person would have another style of like actual, like I have like a $400 like voice mic that I bought back in like 2002 when I was like, you know what, I'm going to record bands for a living kind of thing. So I bought this really nice mic, and I bought like a set for recording drums, and I used it twice, and then I never did it again.
Oh, dude, all the time. I've done that so many times with shit. Oh, I'm going to do this. And then there it sits, in the bin, in the closet.
Yep. So I wanted to ask you, what is your process for creating your stories like? Like I listened to what you've done so far with like I guess mission 1 of that you guys have done and mission 2, and they're very drastically different tones and like kind of styles. And I just wanted to know, like, how do you go through creating one of these stories? Like, do you come with an idea? Do you borrow an idea from something? Do you just think like, I wonder if this would happen? I just want to know like your creative process as like, you get an idea. How do you go through that?
I put a couple different like questions into my notes app, and one of them was, what's your writing process? So bingo on that one, or creative process, but I don't want to give too much away. But let me think. That's a good question. So like the way I get ideas, they just kind of come to me sometimes. Like something will just like, somebody will say something, I'll read something, I'll see a picture, whatever. And then I'll just be like, oh, and then I'll have like a seed. I'll have a seed of an idea, and then just sitting and planting that and really trying to figure out what's going on. And just like not being afraid to change things. I think some people get really, really locked in on certain particular ideas. Mm-hmm. Like something I do a lot is I go for walks. I go for a lot of walks, and I'll just put on music, and I'll pick music that I think kind of fits the vibe of the thing I'm writing for. Okay. Or trying to get ideas for. And then I just like take notes. I take notes in my phone, and then I copy and paste those. I email them to myself, and then I go through those and I pick and I move stuff. And then I just write. I just sit down. I think like the most important thing is just sitting down and actually like trying to write it. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
I say, are you more of like, I want these story beats to happen, or do you like meticulously plan out like everything? Or is it more just like, hey, here's my NPCs, here's how they act, here's how they look, like here's their general demeanor, and then you just kind of wing it from there? Or like, do you try to have like a pretty good, like, this will happen, this, then this, then this? Like, how do you build that aspect of it?
Well, it depends. So with like chapter 1 you listen to, that kind of necessarily has to be like an ABC thing, right?
Sure.
They're, they can choose to go to this location before that location, but as long as they check everything, and roll well, the story is going to go a certain type of way, short of them like failing a roll and dying, which they almost did a couple times. But then with something like chapter 2, right? So Let It Be Written, there's a ton of NPCs and a ton of different places they can go. And I told them, like, you guys can go anywhere you want, talk to anybody you feel like you should, take good notes, right? And yeah, so like with the more open-ended one, there are characters that know things, there's locations and times where things will happen. And it's up to the characters to interact with what's going on, right? Because like a town is a living place with people that are doing things, and the two characters are strangers to it. And there are people with motives that are doing stuff. And so if one of the characters is like, it's like, okay, it's 4:00 and I have kind of the day laid out what these characters would be doing. He's like, well, I think I'm going to go over here. And then it's like, well, there's some characters that would be over there this time of day,
Gotcha.
And then you turn the corner, you see Joe and Mo having a smoke by the flow, whatever.
Right. Okay. I was going to say, do you like quantum ogre it where like if you need them to find a clue, you'll just move that clue to wherever it needs to be? Or are you much more of a, no, that clue is exactly at this point, and if they don't find it, like, sucks be them.
I prefer it to be the latter. I would prefer, like, if they miss something and they don't find it, they don't find it. Now that sucks when you're trying to write something and then you have this like really cool thing and then they just like completely ignore it. It's like, here's the hook, here's the bait, and then they're just like, yeah, whatever.
Point them in that direction.
Yeah. And sometimes it's easy to kind of lightly poke them in a certain direction. And sometimes it's not. And sometimes they just, and sometimes they don't ask the right questions, like there's a character, just an example. Like, let's say there's a character who he knows something, right? But he's not just going to tell them that,
right.
Like the characters need to ask him. And if for some reason they made a bad impression, well, now they're going to have to work to get him to tell them that thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's always the hardest part for, like, especially Delta Green or like Call of Cthulhu, the little bit I've played, where it's like, they rolled and they succeeded, but it's like, there's nothing here. Like, I'm not just going to make up something to give you. Like, So I'll tell them, like, you are 100% positive that you've got everything here that you need. But if they fail, maybe they'll dig a little bit. You're not quite sure. There might be something here still. So
something I try to do that I should do more often are secret rolls where they're like, okay, I want to search this room. And to me, like the die roll is like, if we're not going to actually, have the dice matter, why even have them?
Yeah. If there's no consequence, why are we rolling?
Right. That's what I mean. There's shows, you and I talked about it at one point, where like there's shows where the GM and the players came out and they're like, yep, there is like the characters will never die. And it's like, well, why even have the dice then? Yeah. Just write an audio drama and hit record.
Yeah, exactly. Why are you going to all this trouble?
Yeah, there's no tension anymore. There's no tension. There's other shows like, I'll say the Glass Cannon podcast. I listen to like 350 episodes where it's like, they're dying left and right.
Oh yeah. That's great.
He rolls at one point, he rolls a character and like 2 episodes later, that character is dead. And it's
R.I.P.
like,
Forbears.
Wow. Yes, exactly. Fucking taking a lance in a dark cave or whatever. But so I'm writing the story to be progressively more dangerous. And depending on what the characters do, I mean, like for example, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't listened to the show, so I won't bring that up. But But yeah, even like the secret rolls, you know, if they're searching a room and there's nothing in it and you tell them, hey, roll, and they it's just more fun, you know, when they don't know if they passed or failed and you tell them they didn't find anything. Now they don't know. They don't really, you know, and I as somebody who plays very rarely nowadays, but who did a lot back in the day, I always found that a lot more enjoyable. And I think thematically too, it's good.
Yeah, I think that's one of the cool things about Pathfinder 2E is they have the secret rules built in where like I'll roll for the characters and let them know. And I roll pretty well. So it's like, well, I don't want to do this anymore because they're just going to succeed. Like I'm just helping them pass. So I
roll terribly.
I don't want to do this. But like I've got to the point where like I was running a game last week for some people and like, is there a trap in this room? I'm like, I don't know, give me a perception check. And they roll. I'm like, you're pretty sure there's no trap in the room. And he passed. There was no trap. He's like, I don't believe you. I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
right. Well, and then the characters can be paranoid. You know,
yeah.
maybe they did search it really, really well, but they still think I didn't look well enough.
Exactly.
Or, right, like you can get so much more into the mind games of how is this character feeling,
right?
Especially in a game where you know there's like paranoia and shit going on. But you are definitely a luck vampire because I've never rolled so bad in my life than when we played that other night, and I've never seen somebody roll so well.
Yeah, man. I don't know what it is. I just have. It must be that. I must be a luck vampire. That makes sense because I've just constantly always rolled very well when it matters. So I don't know what it is. Like there have been numerous 5e games where I've killed characters a lot. Pathfinder 2e, I've killed a lot of characters. Delta Green, I've killed a lot of characters. Like it's the way the cookie crumbles right now. So
yep. Well, and the way I do secret rolls is I don't roll it for them. I have a cigar box.
Yeah.
And I open the cigar box and I lean over and I say, throw your dice in there. And they throw it in. I close the box. I bring it over behind my screen. I lift it up. I nod my head. I shake it up and then I give them the dice back.
Nice. Yeah, I love that idea. I actually talked with everybody at the table when we started doing Down Darker Trails. I'm like, hey, like, Suffer Not does this really cool thing with secret rolls. I want to do it for when we run the system. And then I completely forgot when we sat down to do it. And I was like, God damn it. We've already recorded everything. I can't go back and add this. But if I do it, I want to run Call of Cthulhu and Down Darker Trails as an actual show going forward. So when we start that show, I'm definitely going to steal that from you guys. So don't trademark it.
And you have my good graces to use it the way that I use it, which is where I want to, and then I forget to.
Yeah, and I will give you full credit for it when I do use it. So
beautiful. I mean, like just last night we recorded. We're doing a double recording this week just because somebody called out sick last time. But there's sometimes you're like we'll be so in the zone, in the mood, and I totally should just say, okay, roll a secret dice, but I'm just like, okay, roll this, okay, roll that,
right.
Okay, all right, this is what happens. And it's like, well, okay, it would have been cooler if he didn't know that he failed.
Hindsight's always 20/20, right?
Yeah.
So you guys' recording set, like, do you guys record at someone's house, or like where do you guys like? Do you have like blankets on the walls to like dampen sound? Like how do you guys go about that?
Yeah, so we do play at a house. It's a spare bedroom, and I managed to score a bunch of these like foam panels, the type that you use to protect like electronics, right? I had a buddy who worked at a electronics thing, and he would get them a ton, but they were pink. They're bright pink. I don't got a problem with pink, but you know, they're also not like meant for audio. So sure. I recently, I'm going to out myself as something I do. There is a dumpster near where I work that regularly there's a guy who buys storage units, you know, that like got foreclosed or something. Sure. He just dumps tons of shit in there. I've actually talked to the guy like, dude, why don't you donate this? And he's like, I swear to God.
Free bag.
Yeah. No, I swear to God. And he'd throw perfectly clean clothes and shit in there, and he would put them in garbage bags. And I would take the garbage bags to the fucking thrift store, and he saw me doing that. Now he dumps the bags in the fucking dumpster, so I can't do that anymore. Evil man, I swear to God. But there's been a couple times there was like podcasting equipment in that dumpster, And I swear to God, 2 weeks ago, there was a bunch of like sound foam.
Hell yeah.
Like just I swear to God, it was like fucking 60 panels. So we have to hang that up. But yes,
Nice.
there are also blankets on the wall.
Yeah, no, I need to, because I record downstairs in my house. Like, this is actually where you're seeing the picture. This is a window. I can open it, you can see the outside world.
Oh!
But yeah,
Too
so
bright.
like, I don't have a real angle to block a lot of sound out. So I need to figure that out. And I've got posters and shit all over my wall, so I can't really put stuff up. But one of the podcasts I did back in the day, one of our friends had a recording studio, and he ended up closing it down and just gave us all of his old foam. And so we had foam everywhere. It was awesome. It was so cool.
Yeah.
And I'd like to get there with this. I thought about getting PVC pipe and building little stands and putting weighted blankets over them, or building and putting the foam there to at least kind of like angle it to help out. But
Yep.
we'll get there. Maybe once we get the business license and can take money out of the Patreon, then I'll do it. But
Yep. Well, have you seen the little things that it's like a half circle, like little crescent shield that it clips on. Have you tried those at all?
I did, and it did not help. Because my main thing was cross bleed of mics, because we're so close to each other. So I was hoping that would cut down, but it did not cut down any. It didn't. I bought a whole set of them for our pod, for everything. I sat down here for an hour, tried them out, recorded a bunch of different stuff, and it did not help. So yeah, because I was like,
what kind of microphones? If you don't mind my asking.
We have Behringer. Basically, they're SM58s, but a Behringer version. They're like $36 on Amazon. Like super cheap mic. They're awesome. Amazing microphones.
Yeah,
they're just like a standard, like if you know what a Shure SM58 is, it's basically Behringer's version of that. It's like an XR 8500 or 3500 or something like that.
I'm going to look that up. Shure SM58.
I think it's, I can get
I'll bet you. Oh,
here.
Yep. Because we use Shure, it's the SM, the hell is this thing? SM7B.
Oh, 7B, okay.
Yep. And that was like, we all bought them for Sleeping Low. And so I had one. And then when, we were like, hey, we need to do a show, or not need to do a show, but I was trying to get new people. It's like,
sure, this
is what I have. It sounds really good. It's kind of a like industry standard or whatever. But we don't have that problem of, because you have to be close to the mic. Just moving inches backwards, you can already hear that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you know what I mean? And I'm not that far away from it. Right?
So you guys must have vocal mics then.
Yeah.
Ours are they're Behringer XM 8500s, or they're dynamic cardioid vocal microphones. So, but yeah, like these things you got to be pretty close to. Like you can see, I'm pretty far up on it, but it's just we're so close together that it happens. So it's all good.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things. I just cut that out in the background with post. So
Yep. But yeah, I've done the same thing, building like a little, the PVC pipes and the blankets and all that shit. I had a buddy who needed a place to live, and I had a 1-bedroom apartment with a big living room.
Okay.
So I just bought, 2x4s, nailed them together,
there you go.
threw up some shower curtains and whatever. Okay, here's your little room for the next month.
Hey, that's good. But that's a good dude.
But I had a question for you.
Yeah.
Since we both do kind of creepy shit, we're both into creepy shit. What scared you as a kid? What kept you up at night when you were a kid?
Oh man, my biggest fear in life is somebody looking in a window at me.
Oh,
like I don't know what it is, but like it's just where my parents lived was out in the country. Like, you could see your neighbor's house through the trees, but it was all, they had like 2 acres or an acre surrounded by woods kind of thing. And so I just remember that was always my biggest fear, is like looking out my window and just seeing someone staring back at me and knowing there should be someone there, especially like on a second story. So like Amityville Horror really freaked me out when I was a kid. And like Salem's Lot, where like the kid's knocking on the window and it's the second story.
With the eyes.
Yeah, man. Like that shit really creeped me out as a kid. And it still makes me uncomfortable. Like anytime I'm in a room, I have to have curtains closed if it's night, just because I'm not, I don't know. It's just something that's always stuck with me, where I remember I also have like a really overactive imagination. And so I remember one time I was running through exploring my parents' woods, and I told the story on the podcast about how we used to make booby traps and shit like that. Like straight up like Viet Cong style booby traps. Like we would nail like nails through a board and then set a board in the bottom of a pit to protect our bases from nobody. But we watched a lot of Rambo and shit. So I remember I was running through the woods one time and I found this police caution tape covered in blood. And I was like, whoa, like the fuck, like I'm like in the woods. Like there's like no other houses around me. I'm just like deep in the woods. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And like, I didn't cross it or anything like that because it kind of freaked me out. But I remember running back. And then I remember like, I remember overhearing my parents say like there was a helicopter chasing somebody and they went past our house and like went into the woods behind our house. And so I just had like the instant thought of like that guy just like staring at me through the window whenever like I went to go get a cup of water or something like that. And so it just always fucked with me that way.
Yeah. I had two very distinctive childhood memories similar to that. Very related. My dad, one of his many exes, her family had a cabin way up in the woods, right? And I had to sleep there was like a basement living room, but the couches were right next to all these, sliding glass doors and big windows, and they did not have curtains, okay? And there was a little TV, and I don't remember how old I was. I was pretty young, and I watched the first Resident Evil movie by myself in this dark basement with all this infinite pitch black through the fucking, and that freaked me the fuck out. And then especially that scene with the fucking laser that goes through that guy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you get this terrible, horrible, no good sense of something's out there, man.
Oh yeah.
And that same thing happened to my grandparents. I don't know, you ever had sleep paralysis?
Yes, I've had it once.
Okay. I've had it, I don't know, 5 times, handful of times, give or take, right? All of them were in the same bed, in the same room, in the same house, never anywhere else, right? And I was at my grandparents, and they lived way, way, way up north, bumfuck, off of a lake in the middle of the forest. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's like I was a stomach sleeper, and you would feel like something is on you. There's like a malicious entity in this room, and it's not letting you move. Mm-hmm. And it's, it was terrifying, horrifying. And then you open the window, like the curtain, and there's just darkness forever. And I never told my family about that shit because, I don't know. I don't know why I never did. It's like
they're not gonna believe you. You're a kid, right? Like, everyone has that.
Well, I remember as a kid telling them, "Hey, my feet hurt," and they're like, "You're a kid," and it's like, "Oh, well, he has flat feet," and then they're like, "Oh, okay, your feet did hurt. Shit, sorry."
I remember like that, and then I remember I was always terrified of ghosts too as a kid, and it spawned from I had a friend whose his cousin lived with him. And her parents were killed in a car accident. And everybody in that house saw the parents in the house. And so I remember staying the night there, and I was on the top bunk. And I just remember facing the wall and like just blankets around me, like just trying to focus. And it was that eerie feeling. I'm like, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to be like eye to eye level with some dead person staring at me. And it always freaked me out. Like once I learned that about the house, I'm like, I'm not going to go over here anymore. Just because I don't know. I like I said, I always had an overactive imagination. So I would always just have like, and not that we ever had like super weird experiences. Like I had a couple that I can't explain, but as I got older, but yeah, just being a kid, like, I don't know, like haunted houses and ghost shit like that really freaked me out too. So.
Well, and I think like when trying to write horror shit, I think that's such a good well to tap from what scared you as a kid, because a lot of it still scares people today. Maybe you just got to rephrase it and rework it a little bit so it's not some purple guy under the bed, but it's something else is just under the bed, and there's a cosmic horror behind how is it under the bed. Where does it go when mom and dad check underneath, and why is it there when they're gone? Trying to take those types of things and putting them into other stuff. And some of the things we've talked about are in things I've written too. So,
yeah, most of my stuff I write, I try to, like when I'm getting things kind of planned out, I usually have like a central theme that I'm going to go for. Like I had like the we just did Down Darker Trails. We did the Haunted Trails is our 4-arc miniseries we're doing with Call of Cthulhu. I based that off of an urban legend in where I went to high school or went to college at in Ellensburg, Washington. It's loosely based off this urban legend of a family out there. And I made it a little bit different and whatnot, but yeah, I just always find like it's really fascinating. Like I like to take like urban legends and see what I can do to kind of change them around and make them a little different. And because it's always hard for me with like the Cthulhu and the cosmic horror element of it. Like I'm really good at thinking of like weird, scary, fucked up shit, but it's always hard for me to tie it to some sort of eldritch horror in that sense. I'm more of a like psychological or like there's a fucked up creature after you, and then like, oh, can I tie this creature to Lovecraft somehow? Like, is it a spawn of Nyarlathotep or however we're gonna play off? That's always like the secondary aspect to me. I try to think of something that's like really fucking weird to me, and then figure out a way to kind of loosely tie it back in there. So
yeah, and like I don't necessarily, one of my, and this is a common critique of Lovecraft, is where he has these like really cool horror ideas, and then it's just like a big tentacle monster, you know, and it's like, well, that's kind of lame. Not all of them, right? Not all of them, but some of them, right? Like Cthulhu, it's a big tentacle monster.
Yeah.
But like some of the things that I've written that I'm working on, like over explaining it, is something that sometimes I want to do, but I know I shouldn't, right? So like in chapter 1, I mean, the main reason that they're there, right, in where they are, I'm trying to speak extremely vaguely, right? Yeah. But it's like, I could totally see, I don't think anybody wants like I know what they are, right? But I don't think I'm not going to sit there and, you find a notebook that says this is exactly what these things are. It makes it so much less scary. Too?
Like there's no,
Right. And like, I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it. No,
it's fine. Yeah, like that's a hard thought with me is like everything has to make sense in my brain. Like when I'm plotting something out, I have to have a rational reason behind everything to be where it's at and things to happen. And that just doesn't always work with storytelling. Like it's, I don't like just being like, oh, cause it's magic. It's like, well, no, like
that's fucking lame.
That's bullshit. It has to be a reason. Like in our show, like a lot of it, like with spinning out of, and when we did Dark Thoughts and spawned like the second chapter, the one I played off of after we came out of Music from a Darkened Room, I was like, okay, it makes sense that if this house has been here that long, there's got to be other entities that are tied to this house and have done that. So like, what would that look like? And then start trying to like work my way out of that and like, okay, well, maybe there's like a coven of witches or something like that, or there's some group or somebody who's tied to this who was watching over this house because it had such a malevolent tie. And like, okay, well, maybe now this, and this, and start trying to plan it out to where I could logically connect dots and be like, yes, this makes sense because of this, because of this, because of this. And if I can't, I have to stop and figure out a way to make it make sense.
Yeah, because just having like, oh, this is a creepy thing because it is. It's and I do the same. Like I have like a big spreadsheet of characters and factions and this and that and whatever, and trying to. Yeah, I think a lot of like the cosmic-y horror, because I don't know, like how much of my stuff may or may not be tied to Cthulhu mythos. I kind of want my thing to be my own thing,
right?
And obviously there's going to be references and potentially maybe Cthulhu or Nyarlathotep shows up, but it's a maybe, because from the get-go I wanted this show to be. Like I one of the reasons I didn't want to do Delta Green was because I just didn't want to do like a pre-established world with lore. I wanted to write my own. I wanted it to be my own thing, and not that a federal commission into paranormal stuff is unique, but and similar to you, I have a hard time not making things make sense. So like I did a ton of research into who is the Secretary of Treasury, who is the this, and like how would that work if they, because it's the Interagency Commission of Preternatural and Metaphysical Phenomena. It's the Department of Justice and the Department of Treasury, right? And Secret Service agents used to be presidential bodyguards, right? Back in that period, they were investigating. Yeah, the Secret Service was invented for counterfeit currency. Yeah, because it was a huge deal back in the day. It used to be super easy to just print money.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be?
Well, it was one-sided. It was on regular paper. They didn't have the techniques, so they had a whole department of special agents dedicated to tracking it down. And my initial idea with like the commission is the Wild West is going away, right? Civilization is taking over, and you have marshals and Secret Service agents and all these other investigators going around. And, well, what happens if a U.S. Marshal did bump into a coven of witches? What happened if a Secret Service agent found a guy that had, where did this $100 million come from? He's assuming it's counterfeit, but really the guy has a monkey paw in the basement, right? Yeah. Like, what if all these reports, as civilization is kind of taming the West, get onto the desks of, senators and the Secretary of Treasury, and it's like, well, maybe we should look into this stuff, guys. I mean, and then they do, right? That's why Birdie is a marshal and Clay is a Secret Service agent. Yeah.
I like Delta Green for the rule set. I don't know a whole ton about the lore of, like, I know enough about the lore to be dangerous, but I've also just kind of like, I'm going to just do my own version of it. Like, I know there's established rules and everything like that, and the cell structure, and every cell's like, I get all of that, but like at the same time, like, I'll take it and I'll make my own out of it, because it's not necessarily, I don't know, I've never been one to be beholden to lore. Like, whenever I played D&D, I didn't give a shit about Elementor or any of that stuff. When I play Pathfinder, I don't care about the Galarian lore. Like, I just don't. Like, I'll just make my own shit up and we'll go that route. It's funny because, like, that's one of the things I love about another podcast, Stories and Lies, is they are so beholden to the lore of Delta Green, and they treat it with such, like, sincere respect and, like, integrity, that it's really cool to see them, like, play within that world and, like, know their shit. I'm like, God damn, these guys, like, they've read all the novels, like, they're well versed in all that. And I'm just like, I like scary spooky shit, and this system helped me run scary spooky shit in the modern world, so.
Right. Well, I mean, that's why I picked Call of Cthulhu, because I was like, well, I feel like if you make a Delta Green show, or if you make a show using the Delta Green thing, I think a lot of people are going to expect the lore stuff, right? The different this, that, and the other, right? Green boxes.
I find the irony that, like, the biggest one arguably pretended to be people, like, barely they just use it as a rule set. They don't really explore Delta Green. So
yes,
that's my favorite thing.
That is valid. That is valid. I listened to a little bit of that show. I enjoyed it. Not necessarily my cup. It is a little goofier than
I like.
Maybe,
I mean, I'm a mod on their Discord, so I like them. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it, but I mean, like I said earlier too, I don't listen to a ton of podcasts.
Yeah,
I'm usually listening to like post punk in my ear holes.
Okay. I know a little bit of post punk, so I don't listen to I listen to Jawbreaker. I think they're post punk, right? Like Fugazi and Jawbreaker. I think
maybe.
I don't know.
Potentially.
I listen to a lot of weird stuff, so.
So do I. Like, you ever listen to Godspeed You, Black Emperor?
Oh, yeah. They're awesome.
Yeah. Did you listen to their most recent album?
I haven't listened to the most recent one, but.
Okay. I liked it. Some nerds on Reddit didn't seem to like it, but I liked it.
Nerds.
I'll just say that.
No, for Christmas, I had asked for the Phantasm soundtrack from Waxwork, and apparently my sister-in-law bought it for me, and it was delivered to her neighbor. And I just imagine her, and it was open, so I know they opened up to see what this was, and I just imagine them opening up this vinyl of just the tall band with like this big metal sphere on it, and they're like, "What the fuck is this shit? Like, what is happening?" So,
did you ever? I think I brought up Death Grips once upon a time. Have you listened to any other stuff?
I know of them, but I've never listened to them. Like, I'm aware of them, but
their stuff is pretty experimental, and some of the songs are a little bit more. Like some of the songs are in like BoJack Horseman or something, right? Like some of them do show up in other things, or they're influential to other artists. But, and I might be butchering this story, so anybody listening, like, forgive me, but one of their album covers is literally just one of the members' dick. Nice. With the name of the album Sharpied onto it. And the story was they were like locked into a contract with some record label they didn't want to be in anymore. Mm-hmm. And so they made that, they just took a picture of his dick with the name of the album on it, Sharpied, made that the album cover, and then leaked it like a month before it was supposed to get released. And then the record label dropped them. And they were like, cool, awesome.
Yeah, I think the most, like the weirdest, I don't know weirdest, but there's a band called Chat Pile that I have a really hard time listening to, but I also really enjoy listening to it, if it makes sense. Like their first album is really, really tough for me to listen to, but their new album, I think it's God's Country, is awesome. Like it's really, really good. And so like I tried to go back and listen to the old album. I was like, okay, I obviously like them and they're very talented and good, but like, I don't know. I think it's so abrasive, that first album. I'm like, ugh, like the fuck, like what is going on here? But it's really good stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. It's cool, but
did you ever listen to that band I sent? Yeah. White Ward.
Yeah. I've listened to them before.
Okay. What do you think of that type of stuff?
It's good. Like I'm trying to think of the best term here. I've tried to become more like not critical about music because like at the end of the day, just like what you like. There are definitely things I don't like, but I like them. I think they're good. They're probably not something I listen to like generally, like, but I like I said, I'm in a weird spot right now with music where I just listen to a lot of weird, like different genres of stuff. Like I'm all over the place when it comes to stuff. But
I am too. Well, and I don't know. I've known people that they only listen to like the one genre, right? Like there's a guy at work that I know, right? And he's one of those dudes that he shows up to work in the Iron Maiden t-shirts with the sleeves ripped off, you know, kind of older fella.
Biscuit, I don't fucking care.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know. I listen to some metal. I listen to, you know, like post-industrial Eastern European witch house, or really really gay pop music, whatever. You know, it's like all kinds of shit. Like I just you know, the one thing I don't really listen to is country music. You know, like I like some of Johnny Cash's stuff.
Johnny Cash is good. Yeah, country. I found a lot of artists there, like Sturgill Simpson. If you haven't heard Sturgill Simpson, he's really good. He's wild. Childers is really good too. Cactus Blossoms, they're like straight up. Do you like Roy Orbison?
I don't know.
I know you've heard.
I don't know if I've listened.
You've heard Roy Orbison. Trust me. I like Pretty Woman. Like that's Roy Orbison.
Oh, yeah.
They pretty much are like a new version of that. It's like Americana, kind of like country. They're really good.
Mm-hmm.
But like I've been listening to pretty much like Blood Incantation's the big one recently. Their new album, Absolute Elsewhere, is just this incredible death metal prog album about stargates and fucking exploring what it is to be humans and questioning reality. And then I also have been like listening to a lot of Zombie, which is this two-piece bass and drum band that do like synth, like rock, almost like Stranger Things kind of style music. I like that kind of synth wave. And then I've been really getting back into Gaslight Anthem. I don't know if you ever heard them.
I'm just terrible with names. I'm so bad with names, you know?
No, it's cool. It's just like they're like Bruce Springsteen, but punk rock. Like it's the easiest way to describe them. Like if you like Bruce Springsteen, but wish they played like Jersey style punk rock, you'd like them. That's pretty much what it is.
You should send me some of this stuff. You should send me some of this stuff. Because I'm always super game to listen to new music and share what I'm listening to with people. So you and we're going to do a music exchange.
Let's do it. Yeah, so it's just one of those things. Like, and then I've been listening to like a lot of Run the Jewels lately too, because I'm going to go see Run the Jewels next weekend with Wu-Tang. So I'm very excited for that.
Dude, that's sweet.
I think I just like Bell Witch is always a constant with me. Like Bell Witch is probably my favorite band of all time. Like they passed Sleep now, where Sleep was always my favorite band. Like once I really started getting into Sleep, but Bell Witch is just, they're a whole fucking other level. And they're what I listen to when I write and like create stuff. Like I'll put on, they have an album called Mirror Reaper, which is an 1 hour and 37-minute song about a ghost transitioning over from and passing on into the afterlife, and like what they're feeling and what they're going through, and like passing through the gate into the like whatever on beyond the gate. And it's just absolutely like just incredible shit. And yeah, it's just like really good. If you like Funeral Doom, it's very slow, like just drawn out chords that last for like 2 minutes. And vocals you'll never understand because it's just like
So there's a band that it's kind of funny. I don't care for much of their music. And here's the thing, right? If there's ever a band or a song or a musician or a movie, whatever, that like I like and you don't like it, I'm not going to like hate you if you say, oh, I didn't like it and this is why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like some people get really like, you know, ass bent because somebody doesn't like something they like. Like just say, I didn't like it and tell me why, you know? Like I actually enjoy those types of, you know, contentious conversations. But no, so Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats.
Yes, love them.
You heard of them?
One of my favorite bands.
I got to see them live when they were in town, along with King Buffalo. And
I saw them with King Diamond. So,
oh shit! Well, they're just surrounded by kings, but I like some songs by King Buffalo a lot, and I like certain songs by Uncle Acid. It's not particularly my style. Like their normal music is not exactly my favorite.
Sure,
mostly just the vocals aren't necessarily my cup of tea.
I get that.
He's a little too, you know.
It's whiny.
Yeah, exactly.
It's whiny, yeah.
Their most recent album, Nel Ora Blue,
it's amazing.
I went and bought that shit physical. I was at the record store. I was like, that is mine.
Yep, I ordered that because the only thing that was left was the European press, so I had to order a European press and get it sent over here. But absolutely, one of the best albums. I think it came out. Is it this year, right? Or last year?
I think it was last year. Yeah,
it was one of the best albums of last year, in my opinion.
They were in town playing it live, and I didn't get to go.
Yeah, we were going to go. We were going to do a Shrooms, then go watch it, but we didn't. Oh, fuck. But yeah, no, it's this really cool. So for those who don't know, Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats is essentially take the Beatles and have them sing about giallo horror and murder, and that's Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats, like in a nutshell. It's like very trippy psychedelic music, but then it's all about just murder and like horrible things. So their new album is essentially a soundtrack they made for a fake giallo horror movie, which if you don't know what giallo horror is, it's like Italian horror. Think Suspiria and like anything, Tiambre, anything done by Dario Argento. Essentially think that genre. And it is absolutely incredible. Like the little, like the sound effects, the calls they put in there, like everything just, it melds so well together. It's fucking
and it's all in Italian. It's all in Italian. And yeah, I read along. The little packet that comes with the physical thing. It's super cool. I really, 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 I'd love to make some shit like that someday. Right? That'd be so much fun.
Because Night Creeper's always been my favorite album. Like that's just my favorite Uncle Acid album because that's just the one the first one I really got into. But yeah, the new album is just fucking stellar. Like absolutely.
I think that their concert was maybe the loudest one I've ever been to. We were right on. I got a guitar pick from them. I swear to God. Did I tell you that? Have I told you that? No, yeah. I was front row right on the rail with this girl I was talking to at the time. And you know, I had this feeling. I'm like, dude, he's going to throw something at us. I don't know why. I just had that feeling. And then right as the music, ended and he starts moving, he flicks the guitar pick right at us. And I could just see that, just a little flash, as it cut across the lights. And as soon as the lights come back on, I lean over, I'm like digging through some of the trash, and then I'm like, ha! And I pop up with the pick. They're like, oh, what is that? I was like, dude, he flicked it right at us.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I have it up on a shelf over there.
Nice. Yeah, I saw them. It was King Diamond, and they were called Idle Hands, and now they're called Unto Others Play.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like some of their music. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a huge, I'm not a big fan of Typo Negative, so that kind of gothy rock is not necessarily for me, but they are incredible musicians. I don't want to take any away from their talent. It's just not my cup of tea, but they fucking
some of
rip.
Some of their lyrics are a little too, I don't know how to describe it politely, but it reminds me of how I felt when I was that edgy high schooler. That's
it's like angsty teenager stuff.
Nothing matters, man. Yeah. But God's not real.
But I can't mock them for that because I listen to knuckle dragging Cannibal Corpse music where it's just I can't make fun of someone for their lyrics when I listen to garbage like that. I love Undeath. Undeath is one of my favorite death metal bands.
Yep.
And they have a song about eating people. It's just about eating bodies. It's just I'm going to eat this dead body. It's yeah, man, let's do it. That's what I want.
Well, let me be clear. I like some of the Unto Others songs. I like the way they sound. I sing along to them in my car. But sometimes as I'm singing, I'm like, what am I saying?
Oh, no, yeah, 100%. Like I said, they are incredible musicians. Guitar work, fantastic. The riffs are on point. But yeah, the one band I'm bummed I didn't get to see They played here last year, and my wife unfortunately bought me the wrong day of tickets to see them. Is a band called Summerlands. And
I think I've heard of them. I don't know.
They recently got a new singer for their last album. He used to sing for a band called Magic Circle, which is, if you haven't listened to Magic Circle, they're incredible. But it was like, yeah, they're just like straight up like old school, like Judas Priest style, like metal, like ripping solos and all these like really cool shit. And like he's got like a really good voice. And then their bass player died last year, so I don't know if they're going to be a band anymore. So I'm like, fuck, man, like I don't think I'm ever going to see them.
You play bass, right? You play bass. Go play.
Not to that level. But
I think probably my favorite band, which is a really hard thing for me to actually say, which is my favorite, but King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
I've listened to like one song by them.
Well, but that's the thing. They like every single album they make is a different fucking genre.
Oh yeah,
you know
and I love them for that. Like I love that they're so like they release 15 albums in a year or some dumb shit.
Bro,
and it's like everything is completely different.
Like
it's wild.
Yep. I'm a huge fan of them, and I have not listened to like everything because it's just so much.
How could you?
Right. And like I'd heard so much about them, and they make so much music, and so much of it's different. It's almost like, well, where do I start? I just started at the beginning. I just listened to all their albums in chronological order when I worked a really boring job.
I do that. I'll do that with bands. Yeah. Like I did that with like Nine Inch Nails. I was never a big Nine Inch Nails fan, so I sat down and I listened to every album Nine Inch Nails put out. And at the end of it, I was like, okay, this is not like their early stuff is awesome. Later stuff, not really my cup of tea. But like the one I figured out I really loved is Outkast. Like, man, early Outkast. Oh, like AT Aliens is one of the best rap records of all time. And I will fight anybody on that. Like, it is
the
perfection.
The song Chunky Fire was me and my friend's like fucking theme song for a while. But the King Gizzard album, because I was just thinking, you really like Aura Blue, you like that type of thing. Mm-hmm. The album that like really sold me on King Gizzard was, I think it's like their third album ever. It's called Eyes Like the Sky, and it's a similar thing to Aura Blue, but instead of like a Italian horror film, it's like a spaghetti western or like a Blood Meridian western type of thing but with the sound. So they got this guy to like read like, back in the wild when he had eyes like the sky and the Indians killed like that type of thing. And then there's like the bow 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 bow, and then but it gets like exciting, and then there's like gunshots and
that's cool.
All that shit. And I was like, okay, so the first couple things, they sound like a soundtrack to a skateboarding game, and then all of a sudden they come out with this, and I'm like, whoa, like okay, these guys make art. Murder of the Universe, I think, is maybe my favorite album by them.
Yeah, see, I love movie sound. Like, I have half of my vinyl are soundtracks to like video games or like horror movies and stuff like that. Like, I love soundtrack stuff. Like, but the older I've gotten, the more I appreciate like John Carpenter. Everything he's done is just incredible. Ennio Morricone, I have like his box set. Yeah, stuff like that. Like, I've become more and more like just sitting down and listening to all that and the different ins and outs and every way it makes you feel. So,
yeah. Did you know? I was just I go to a couple record stores near my apartment all the time. I'm a big like film collector. Okay. And the guy there was like, I was buying Vampires by John Carpenter.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For a friend.
Great book.
And he's like, oh yeah, I love John Carpenter's soundtracks and whatever. And I was like, oh, did you know that the Thing was not composed by right? It was composed by I can't remember the other guy's name. And did you know? You probably know this then. He made more music than they put in the movie, and multiple songs are in Hateful Eight.
Oh, I did not know that part.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So Tarantino got a hold because, what was his name one more time?
Ennio Morricone.
Morricone didn't have like the script for the Thing. So he had like an outline of what the movie was going to be. So he just made like a boatload of songs and told Carpenter, yep, pick the ones you like. And the unused ones kind of just like sat in a vault somewhere. Tarantino got a hold of them, and Hateful Eight is kind of a similar vibe where, it's tense, we don't trust each other in the middle of the winter hellscape. David Lynch. So I'm a big David Lynch fan. Did you know he made music?
I know of it, but I've never seen the single David Lynch thing. Oh, never in my life have I watched anything David Lynch.
That's okay. So. You're a big Dario How do you pronounce it? Dario
Argento.
Argento. I own Suspiria. I haven't watched it. I know you have a poster of it, right?
Yeah, I have a poster of Suspiria. I have the vinyl. One of the best soundtracks, in my opinion. Like, it's, yeah. Yeah, I have my friend did a Suspiria poster for when they did the 4K release. There's a local group here who does horror movies, and so they got a hold of the 4K release and showed it, so my buddy did the poster for it. But yeah, it's one of the best shitty horror movies at the time. Like, it's absolutely ridiculously great.
I've seen Demons by him, and I thought it was
Demons is incredible.
Yeah, it was a fun time for sure.
Demons 2 is just as good, honestly.
Okay, if I see it, I'll pick it. Well, Suspiria has been on my list forever to like sit down and watch, but the list never, it gets bigger and bigger. It never fucking shrinks.
Oh, of course.
But David Lynch is probably my favorite like creator artist, for like film and storytelling. I love just about every single movie he's made. Some of them are weaker than others, but they're weird, but they're weird with a purpose, and so like Eraserhead, for example, that's the first movie he ever made, like feature-length film. Came out 1977, same year as Star Wars. And it's fucking weird, man. It's weird. But it's weird in a way that like you can interpret what's going on, right?
Okay.
It's not too weird. I've seen movies that are a little too weird. But like I've shown a handful of people Eraserhead. I have them over. I got the Blu-ray, right? And every single one, even people that are not into like film, into, art and storytelling, they walk away with a different interpretation of what the film was saying, So it's like, hey, Bobby, what did you think it was about? Oh, I thought it was about like, fear of responsibility and this and that. And then, hey, what do you think it's about? Oh, I think it's my, anxiety about having children or whatever. But like all of those theories are valid. And none of them were what I had when I watched it.
Huh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then some of the other movies are just like really, really, really good, but you kind of have to like trust the artist. So like Mulholland Drive is a fantastic film. And there's like some weird things at the beginning that, don't make sense until the end. And then the movie is rewatchable as fuck.
Nice.
Lost Highway,
I feel like I should, because Twin Peaks takes place in Washington, and like I live in Washington, but I never get around to watching any of his stuff. Like can
you see that?
I can, yeah.
That's a Twin Peaks tattoo.
Yeah, I mean, I live like 40 minutes away from like where North Bend and all that stuff and all that area. So like where the cafe is and everything. So
it's on my bucket list is to go out there and visit.
Well, if you ever come out here, I'll take you out there.
Dude, that would be sick. I'll let you know. I'll take a week off someday. I'll fly out there or drive, whatever. But yeah, Twin Peaks is really, really good. The second season has some slow bits. You know, you can kind of fast forward through. And then season 3 was amazing. It's so cool how they made it. Some people I've talked to who watched the original show didn't realize that season 3 was season 3. They thought, oh, it's a reboot. Oh, no, weird. It's season 3.
I thought it was a continuation of everything. So
yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. And there's it's not really a spoiler, but toward the end of season 2, or like at the very end of season 2, one character says to another, "I'll see you in 25 years." Oh, and nice. Then season 3 comes out 25 years later.
It's like you planned it.
Yeah. He was like, "No, I never planned it. It was all just a fun coincidence." I'm like, okay, nice. Was it? Yeah. All right.
Now, my favorite director growing up I really liked Robert Rodriguez. Like From Dusk Till Dawn is my favorite movie. Oh, The Faculty, all that stuff. And the older I've gotten, I think John Carpenter is probably my favorite. Just the amount of quality stuff that he's put out. His music is awesome, but like all of his movies fucking rule. Like, I don't think there's a single John Carpenter film I've watched where I'm like, yeah, it was okay. Like every one of them, like
it drives me nuts how none of his movies except for Halloween did well in the box office. Like the Thing, did you know The Thing was critically panned? It was a total failure.
He didn't want to direct it. He didn't want to remake it, and they basically like, hey, if you take this and direct it for us, we'll give you I think it was like Big Trouble in Little Chinatown or something like that. Like that's how he got to make that movie. Yeah. They Live is my favorite movie he did. Like I think it's mine too. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Like
I want to get a They Live tattoo. Like it's my favorite movie by far of his. Like it's just so fucking great. So.
Yep. I think Oh, I mean, it's hard for me to pick a favorite necessarily because like Escape from New York is amazing, right?
Absolutely.
It inspired Metal Gear, which is a good game series. Okay. Big Trouble, Little China, love it. The Thing, love it. I mean, The Thing is like one of the best horror movies of all time, right? And the fact that back in the day people said it was terrible. I mean, I watched a video about like the original reception of the film, and like the reviews are nuts where people are like, oh, it's one big violent Jim Beam commercial, like shit like that. It's just nuts. I have a friend who, he's in his 50s. When he was a kid when that movie came out, he will not watch it. He will not watch that movie because it like traumatized him as a kid.
Oh, geez.
He doesn't even like think. You bring it up, and he's like,
"Wow." My dad had that with The Exorcist. I remember talking to him about The Exorcist, and he's like, "Oh man, that was so scary." And I remember watching it, and like I was like in tears, laughing at half of it. I'm like, "How is this scary? Like this isn't scary." But you have to remember at the time, like that's like Jaws scared the shit out of me. Like I'll be the first to admit that. Like I wouldn't go swimming in a pool because I thought a shark was going to kill me.
I had the same thing. Yep. That grandpa I was talking about earlier, he would put on Jaws too often for someone of my age. I was a kid. He was a little kid. Yeah, and it gave me like a terrible anxiety of water and swimming and everything.
What was it? My cousin loved Pee Wee Herman, Big Adventure, and Large Marge. Just absolutely terrified me as a kid. Like I just couldn't. I freaked the shit out of me for the longest time.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever get a chance to go on the Jaws Universal Studios ride?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That thing was fucking... it's not there anymore?
Last time we went 2 years ago, it was still there. They had Jaws. Like Ray pops out of the water, swims up next to it. Maybe I'm thinking of like...
And you're in a boat. You're in a boat going around like an actual fucking thing.
Oh,
yeah.
No, I didn't see
gone
that
now.
That one might be gone, yeah. The Universal Tour ride, he'll pop and do that, but...
There was a Universal Studios in Florida. They have a ride or had a ride. You can watch videos of it on YouTube, but it was like you're in a boat and you're taking a tour of Amity, whatever the fucking island is. And there's a tour guide that's like, oh yeah, over here is Bill's house and over there is Marge and that's where the ice cream. And then the radio. And you're in a boat. You're in an actual boat. And then you hear the radio static. It's like, oh my God. Ah! And then you turn around a corner and there's a boat like sinking into the water with like bubbles and electricity and all this shit. And then there's an actual dorsal fin through the water and you keep going. And then the shark progressively like more and more attacks the boat and it comes up out and rocks the boat. And I remember the guy took like a shotgun and he was firing blanks into the fucking water, like literally. Cool. And then the animatronic progressively is all like bloodier and bloodier. Yeah. It was fucking awesome.
I've only done California.
It was very expensive.
Like, California has where you pull up alongside of it, and then like you see this guy in this fishing boat, and then he gets like blown out of the water, and then the shark comes and like pops up next to the boat and sprays water. But
that's almost as cool.
It's not. It's not that cool. It's not cool at all.
Did you read the book?
I haven't. No, I've heard it's really good. I heard it's way different, but
it's what I didn't like it. I'm gonna be so real. I didn't care for it very much. Just like. The movie is like the first 60 pages and the last 60 pages and everything else is just like I don't want to spoil anything, but there's certain things it's like, dude, I personally do not care. I don't care. I don't want to spoil it for people, but read it if you want, and if you like it, great. I'm happy for you. Like actually,
it's like, you brought up Vampires from John Carpenter, like that. I own the book Vampires by John Stakely, who wrote, like, that's what the book's based off of, or the movie's based off that book. So it's really interesting to have read the book and then see the changes in the movie. It's like, oh, okay, that's pretty interesting how they chose this path versus this path. But yeah, I'd like to read the Exorcist. The book I've heard is, I don't know how different it is. Honestly, I haven't heard a lot about the book. I know the author like heavily worked on the film with what's his name, but yeah. Did you ever see the third Exorcist? No,
I've heard.
I think I've only seen the first. I don't think I've only seen like the original Exorcist. I don't think I've seen anything after that.
Well, so like my understanding is that the first one, right, legendary. The second one, dog shit, right, like studio cash grab. And then the third movie, the author of the book came back and was like, okay, I'm going to actually make a good movie. But because it was the third movie, and people, so like nobody went to see it. Right. But it's actually a really good movie.
It's like got Halloween 3.
Right. It's got, what's his name? Wormtongue, Chucky. That guy's in it. The actor. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
There's another guy. You'd recognize him. There's a couple like really good semi-famous actors in there that, do a really, really good job. So if you ever, The Exorcist 3 pops up on Netflix, don't shrug it off.
I'm trying to watch more movies, but I don't watch as much as I used to. We went and saw Sinners. That was pretty good. I liked that. I thought that was cool.
Everybody, I wanted to see it.
It's really good.
I'm going to buy it. I'll buy it when it comes out. All my friends have said it's like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, my favorite movie of last year was The Substance. That was the best movie I saw last year, hands down. Probably because I just watched a movie. I watched this, God, where is it from? It's a Nicaraguan horror film or something. I forget where it's from, but it's South American horror film called Deliver Us from Evil. It's the most fucked up movie I've watched in a long time. To the point, I stopped it at one point. I'm like, I know what's going to happen, and I don't want to see this happen, and I'm not ready to watch this happen. And so I had to turn it off and come back the next day and be like, okay, let's get this over with. Let's see how this goes. And it played out exactly like I thought. I'm like, fuck, man, that's dark as shit.
Yeah.
And so then I watched The Substance right after, and I'm like, what is this? So
I have to admit, I have not seen The Substance yet.
It's awesome. It is one of the best movies. Like I said, one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. I love it.
I think I'm going to make a commitment that I will watch Sinners and The Substance soon, very soon. I will pick them up. I will
Sinners
watch them.
I was not. It was different than I was expecting. I thought it was going to be more From Dusk Till Dawn kind of vibe, and it wasn't. It's a way different, way better vibe. From Dusk Till Dawn, as much as I love the film, does not hold up. That first half is really rough. The misogyny, the fact that you're rooting for a rapist is really tough to reconcile with now that I've gotten older. But that second half of that movie kicked so much ass, it makes up, in my opinion. Or it doesn't. Maybe I'm desensitized to it and I make excuses for it so I don't feel like I'm a bad person. But
So I watched with friends From Dusk Till Dawn for the first time a couple weeks ago. Maybe a month ago. Right. So I went, a friend and I, like I said, big movie guy, we went on a Tarantino fest. Once a week, we'd watch a Tarantino movie in order of release. And then we never got around, Dusk Till Dawn was written by him, but it's not,
he directed half of it. So if I remember correctly.
Yeah, something like that.
He directs the first half and then Robert Rodriguez does the second half, if I remember correctly.
And I think he wrote it. I think either way.
Yeah.
We were watching it, and it's we know that in real life, Tarantino has a foot fetish.
Yeah.
And so the character he's playing, he writes a scene where he gets to, suck toes. But then for that same character...
toes.
Yes. And then for that same character, he also writes him to be, a pedophile, fucking schizo... murdering rapist, and it was so uncomfortable to watch.
Absolutely.
Certain part, the dialogue is good, and it's shot really well and whatever, and it looks good. But I think the most fucked up movie, not fucked up, it's a movie called Hard to Be a God.
Okay.
And I'd say maybe it was the most difficult watch. It's from Alexei German. He's a German director or Russian. I can't remember. I think it was Russian. Somebody's going to shoot me for not knowing, but it's based on a book. I think it was a Russian director because it's based on a book by Russian authors. You ever heard of Stalker?
Yeah,
I'm gonna go on a big
Stalker's
roundabout.
Great. That's one of my favorite books that I read.
Yep,
Roadside Picnic. It's great.
Yep. Those two, the Strugatsky brothers, they wrote Hard to Be a God. Right. And the premise is like human civilization has encompassed the stars and it's super hyper advanced. But because the galaxy and the universe is so big, some planets are, at a different technological level. And there's one that is medieval, right? It's full on mud, chainmail, medieval, right? Witch hunts.
Tight.
And they have no idea that the rest of the galaxy is occupied by advanced human civilization, right? And so scientists are observing the planet, and they're this is all in the back of the book, right? So I'm not spoiling anything. But scientists are observing the planet. They're they've been in technological stagnation for way too long. We should send some people down there to kind of nudge them in the right direction. And one of those scientists that they send down is the main character. and you follow him, right? And that's why it's hard to be a god is, he can't kill people, right? But he's got a sword that can cut through anything, and armor that'll deflect anything. And so when he gets into a duel, right, he cuts their ears off and whatever. But the movie was just the way that it was filmed. It's all black and white, and it was super claustrophobic, and it was dirty. Like, it feels like you're in a disgusting medieval town. Okay. Like, people are spitting and coughing, and run, their nose is runny. And one of the first scenes, they're like dragging away some guy and dunking him head first into like a cholera pit. It's just a pit full of shit, and it's. And just like, the narrative is told in a. It's just, I don't know. But it's an interesting piece of art. You know what I mean? It's worth watching, but it definitely, same thing you said, I had to watch it in two sittings. Yeah.
the movie that I had a hard time was actually called When Evil Lurks. I had to look it up. When Evil Lurks. It is, I want to get it right, because it is a well done movie, but I want to make sure I give it the proper respect that it gets. It's a Spanish film. So, yeah, but it is. It's a tough watch. It's a very, very tough watch. And I think maybe now that I have kids, I think that softened me up a little bit to a lot of stuff where I'm just like, I don't have an issue with kids being hurt necessarily in films, but like, I don't know. Yeah. It just, I was like watching, I was like, ugh, I know what's going to happen here. And I don't want to be ready for it. Like, I just don't.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's kind of like that movie, Devil's Rejects,
Yeah.
I'd never seen it before. I like some of Rob Zombie's music, and one of his other movies I thought was pretty good. And so I put that in because I heard so much about it, and I got the unrated extended version.
Yeah, I loved it. I haven't watched it in 20 years. So
some of the stuff in that movie made me a type of uncomfortable I don't want to be.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of how it was like watching From Dusk Till Dawn again. It's like, I guess I've grown up enough where this isn't cool. Like, I have a From Dusk Till Dawn tattoo. Like, it is one of my favorite movies. I will always love it, but that first half, I will fully admit, is rough. It's like listening to the Misfits now. Like, when I listen to the Misfits, I only listen to Glenn Danzig era, and I got to take out all the misogynist songs because they're just gross now. Where it's like, I used to be able to sing along with them and have fun, but now I'm just like, no, that's not a very fun song to sing along to, so I'm just going to put that in a box and pretend it doesn't exist.
One question I was going to ask you was, are there conspiracies you believe in?
Oh, like, not really. Like, I want to believe that Paul's dead and stuff like that, like those goofy ones, like Paul's not real, or actually, no, that's not true. I believe that Andrew WK is not the real Andrew WK. I believe that. I believe the idea that Andrew WK is a performance artist and that the mantle is passed down from Andrew WK to Andrew WK. I believe that. That's one of the conspiracy theories I believe. As for like the bigger ones, no, man, like, I don't really buy into like a lot of the, I'm not a 9/11 truther. I think the earth is round. Like UFOs, I probably believe in UFOs. I would say that. Like, I find it impossible that we are the only intelligent species in a galaxy and a universe as large as this. I refuse to believe that we're the only ones that have ascended this far. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, some of the government stuff, like, I don't know. Like, yes and no. Like, I don't think there's a whole ton of them that I'm super like in depth into. But yeah, how about you? What do you believe in?
It's hard to answer that question because there's things that I'm like, that could be. If I found out tomorrow, I would not be surprised. But if somebody asked yes or no, gun to my head, I'd probably say no with a slight questioning inflection. Like the one I just mentioned, I have a strong feeling, but I'm not going to say definitively, yes, this is the case. That like those Minneapolis riots had like external agitation, because like being there in person, like 98% of the people were totally peaceful. And then there's some guy in a black shirt and a black pants with a black mask with a black fucking umbrella just casually walks up to an AutoZone and starts smashing windows. And people from the crowd are like, dude, what are you doing? There's videos of this, was on camera, right? People are like, what are you doing? Why are you breaking this glass? And the guy just like walks away. It wasn't raining or nothing. He had the fucking black umbrella. It was super weird.
I mean, it's the same thing with like, California. Like, they're trying to claim their riots and all that. It's like, they're not like, California's not burning because of all this. Like, it's okay.
Right, right. Well, and it's so that's something I feel like, was it the American government? Was it the Chinese, the Russians? Was it just like Antifa wannabes who like think they're starting the revolution? I was at a Trump protest when he was at the Target Center, and I've met some like legit, Antifa air quotes people. The ones I met were fucking dorks, man.
Well, Antifa is just like a mindset. Like that's the thing. It's like it's like being an atheist to me. It's like you're not like, yeah, there's a group, but like it's just a mindset that you have. Like I don't see it as like an organized group. Like I know, like there's like I know there's one group. I forget what they are, but like I just never thought like Antifa is like, yeah, that's Antifa the group. It's just like, no, you're just Antifa. Like you're against fascism. Like you're anti-fascist.
Yeah, so. I know back it's like 4 years ago or whatever it is now, like there were people who were like making their own little groups, that the Trump Target Center Minneapolis protest I was talking about. I was there for like 4 hours straight, and it was totally peaceful. Now, if you saw a MAGA hat, you blow a whistle and yell at them and but you're not throwing anything, you're not hitting them, right? You're just, you're calling them idiots or something. And then there's like drums and music and people giving speeches. And like I said, I was there for like 4 hours. And as I'm leaving, 9:00 at night, it's still pretty busy protest. And I see these 6 or 7 dudes walking down the street, and they're all blacked out, right? Black, head to toe, wearing masks, right? Some of them are wearing, it's just like the balaclava type of thing. And one of them's got a big red and black flag, and I'm like, yes, I know what this is. So I started following one of them and just walking next to him. And like music was playing or something, and I sparked up a conversation. I just asking him questions, like, why don't you guys just go guillotine Bezos or something, like you talk about. And he's like, well, I swear to God, his answer was like, well, like the revolution is like a single drop in the water, and then like the tsunami builds, and we're building the tsunami, but it's not yet the tsunami. I'm like, okay, dude. And then they just go around spray painting stuff. And then when I got back to my car and I start driving home, and on the news they're talking about like, masked Antifa starts hitting MAGA supporters with bike locks and shit like that. And it's like, dude, I don't know. It was funny. I don't know where we were going with that, but
no, I remember the other really conspiracy theory I could like get behind is that there's a conspiracy theory that back in the day, the record labels got together to promote Tupac and other rap music to promote gang life to African Americans so that they could help increase the prison population by arresting people for the stuff, because prisons are for profit kind of thing.
Yep.
I could see some validity in that, like getting together, so.
Well, there was one like legitimate documented conspiracy. There was like a global conspiracy with light bulbs. Did you ever hear about this one?
No.
So this is a real thing. This is not some bullshit from, a Facebook post.
Yeah.
There was a conspiracy theory, or not theory, just a conspiracy. Light bulbs were getting better and better and better and better in the early, turn of the century. And there's light bulbs from back then that are still lit to this day, right? Like there's a firehouse in Chicago or something that's had the same light bulb lit for like 100 years or something nuts like that. It's a real thing. And so these light companies all got together, right, from Asia, Europe, the Americas, and they're like, hey, our sales are down. Why are they down? Because light bulbs are on longer and longer and longer and longer. And they collectively decided they all agreed to make light bulbs shittier. And they all signed like a non-compete where it's like nobody's allowed to make a light bulb that lasts, 8 months or something. Yeah. And that was a real thing, that up until like, up until like LEDs are now, everywhere. Yeah. So like if things like that can happen, what else can happen?
Back in like the 70s, they were dumping barrels of oil in the ocean because they had such a surplus.
Yep.
Just shit like that. Like it's a weird world we live in.
Yeah. Or like the cheese. You hear about the cheese vaults? Okay, here's another one. This is also a true one. So the dairy farmers are a very important piece of America, right?
Right.
And there was a period of time where there was a massive, I can't remember what year it was, like the 70s or something, maybe the 80s, where there was a massive surplus of dairy. Was they could not sell enough of it, and it was driving prices down, and it was like ruining dairy farmers. So the U.S. government stepped in and bought a shit ton of the surplus dairy to kind of, help the farmers, help the economy, help prices, all that shit. And they did not know what to do with all of this fucking dairy. So they turned it all into cheese. And they had more cheese than they knew what to do with. So they started putting it into like doomsday bunkers and vaults. And that's where some of the like the got milk advertising came from, like that type of stuff. That was funded by the government.
Right. To help milk sales. Yeah. That's why I remember learning that milk up until that point, like we basically created a reason for you to drink milk. It's like, oh, it helps your bones. It's like, how does it help your bones? How does drinking all that shit? So.
And cheese, like pizza, it was tied into all these different things where like the government was trying to pawn off all this cheese and putting it in schools and making deals with like Papa John's or Domino's or whatever. I don't remember all the exact details, but like that's also a real documented, unclassified thing that, that's less malicious, right, than other things. But,
No. No, like I remember watching like stuff on the Kennedy assassinations and stuff like one of the first Delta Green campaign I ever created was based off of the JFK assassinations. And so I watched a lot of stuff on that and like did a whole ton of study for that time period, like to the point I'm pretty sure I'm on a list. Like I have to be on a list. Like there was just a lot of Googling to look into it. Yep. And that was just like the setup. Like that actually had nothing to do with the JFK assassination. Like it was just his assassination kicked off the plot. But I want to make sure like it was accurate to all that stuff. So
that's always something that freaks me out. Like Googling things for, anything you're writing. It's like, what, how heavy is a stick of dynamite? Like how long is a stick of dynamite good for? How do you, you get it.
What is the CIA? What is their standard issue revolver? Like stuff like that. Like where are their campuses located?
What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
It's just so much random shit. Like there's half the stuff I never thought I would Google or try to figure out as I was running the game. I'm like, I guess I need to know that now. Like, 'cause someone's going to ask and I got to be prepared. Like,
at what point does a human reach terminal velocity? Like shit like that. Yeah, for sure. It's super fun.
Like, cause even doing the haunted trails, like I was going through, I'm like, all right, like I've set into this year, like are steamboats available? Cause I want to have a steamboat. Like, okay, cool. Steamboats were around. Like, cool. Perfect. Like just doing all the research of like, where was Colorado during that time period? Like how far advanced, like was Denver established? All that kind of stuff, trying to figure out the history of Colorado and all these things. So it was interesting. I like doing that stuff. Like when I ran another campaign, I guess part of a campaign I had set in Colorado for a home game I did, and I based it off of, what movie? Hot Fuzz. And so it was this whole town run by ghouls, and they had basically created this idea that they were this perfect town out in the middle of Colorado that you could come and be part of this town. And like just prosper. Like they had a bunch of open houses. You could come live, be part of the community, like all these sort of things. Like, it was the #1 hot destination for America, like people to come live in. And the reason they were doing it is like they would basically just kill people. They needed food for their ghouls. And so like people would come in, they'd go missing. And but the whole idea was like just that idea of like proper, like the appearance that we put on, and like everything had to look perfect on the outside, and below was like literally ghouls eating people. So, I did a whole ton of research into like that whole area. Yeah, it's fun to do all that as I like get more and more. Like you can't really do it with fantasy stuff, so I think that's kind of why I like the more modern like Call of Cthulhu and like Delta Green kind of stuff, where it's like, I can actually tangibly look at this and understand like our world.
Or even like sci-fi stuff. Like I had, I'm when I have the time writing a sci-fi world, and what is the furthest thing we can see, and then like, well, how can we see it? Oh, because of like light dilation, right? Or there's like a time where like time telescopes light waves. It's like it's super cool shit. But like for stuff or not that it comes up a lot, but I had a lot of fun. I'm a gun guy. I like guns, right? I own guns. I go shooting. Like the time period has so much weird experimental shit.
Oh, interesting.
There's really interesting periods in like gun design where they're in between two different things, and so they're trying to mix them together, right? Like in World War One, the Pedersen device was this like wonder waffle that they never really got working very well, but they were trying to turn, right? They have like hundreds of billions, not hundreds of billions, tens of millions of bolt action rifles. And they're like, how do we make these semi-automatic? Because if we can just make them semi-automatic, then it's cheaper than making 10 million new rifles.
Right.
And just like all that kind of weird shit, or like semi-automatic flintlock muskets, you know, like I love that shit. It's so weird, and the clockwork, goofy mechanisms behind it. And so like the 1910s, right? Like the 1911 is invented the year that Suffer Not starts, right? Like all the shit before there, it's weird. It's like, why would you think that was a good idea?
Right.
You watch videos of people on YouTube shooting it. It's like, that looks horrible. Why would you do that? But they didn't know any better, you know? And
they did. Yeah, literally. They're just experimenting.
Yeah. And then they're like, well, this works like pretty well, I guess. Put it on the market. And then like,
I didn't lose
a few
a finger,
thousand.
so we're good.
Yeah. Well, that happened a lot with, you know, why they never made like revolver rifles until they had like the cartridge chain reactions, chain fires.
Oh yeah.
There was a non-zero chance that when you're shooting a black powder revolver, all of the cylinders might fire at once.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
And so if you have your other hand holding the barrel of this revolver, guess what's yeah.
That makes sense.
Anyway, so that type of stuff I have a lot of fun reading about.
Yeah, that's always been like, when you start building something out and like deciding on an idea, like your fantasy world, right? Or your sci-fi world that you're starting to build out, like, do you start like very like, I guess, granular and like just start with a planet, or do you go to like a bigger scale and look at the overall arc of like, okay, what do I want this sector to look like? Or do you go even further and like, this is a whole uncharted galaxy, what's there, and that kind of stuff? Like, where do you start? Like when you look at something like that?
Well, so the one I'm writing, where I started, was the future history of Earth, right?
Okay.
What do I think is going to happen in 50 years, 200 years, you know, and like, well, how do I, and not necessarily being like 100% true to how things are, but like, yeah, you know, geopolitically, I could see China and India going to war, you know, so like if they did, what would happen? How would the world look? And then how does the world recover from a third nuclear war? The idea I had is, you know, you have like Bezos and Musk trying to get to Mars, right? So what if in 25 years they like actually get a colony up and running, and then another 25 years all the billionaires and, you know, well, hyper elite are living on the moon or on Mars, and then World War III happens and the world is fucked up. And who's going to rebuild the world? Well, it's all the hyper-capitalists. And so that's where you get this like hyper-capitalist dystopia, because the world was rebuilt by the billionaires that got through it all on Mars. And then, you know, you fast forward and you know, just year after year. And then it's like, okay, well, how do they do faster than light travel? Well, okay, how do they do faster than light communications? And, you know, it's
that's
almost
what I love
like
about travelers. Like, they don't have that. Like, they don't have faster than light communication.
Yeah, well,
like, if you want to get a communication from one sector to another, like, you got to put it on a ship, and you have to have that ship travel through space and get there. Like, I love that factor of it.
Well, my idea was, and please nobody steal this, okay? Timestamp this. Trademark. Is they would, you know, it's hundreds of years after faster than light travel has been invented, right? Like, and I'm like, okay, there's got to be a way. And my idea was drones that act almost like carrier pigeons, right? They're constantly, you know, going FTL through lanes. So there's information lanes that are heavily guarded by, you know, the military. And it's just these drones constantly going faster than light from point to point to point to point to point. And just cool. Like, so you have two different systems, right? And they're just constantly, it gets there, sends its data, teleports back. And they're just constantly doing that. So that's how they get their faster than light. But then they have to have big military presences to kind of protect that Pony Express. Yeah, stuff like that. I could go on and on and on. I'm really excited for it. Yeah.
That sounds really cool. Yeah, like I kind of started, like, the Traveler, they've already got an established world. And I was like, I'm going to change the history a little bit, because there's a comic I read back in the day called Fear Agent, and I love the catalyst of that. So I was like, I'm just going to steal that idea and take that as, like, the catalyst for our universe, and then explore what happens when everyone gets out there, like, thousands of years in the future after this happens. So where are we at, kind of thing. And I also sat down with each of the players, was like, hey, what do you want? What don't you want? And we kind of shaped the world that way. So, which I've been trying to do more of, is sit down with the players and kind of help craft the world a little bit of like, okay, well, like, we're going to play this game together. What do you want in this game? Versus like, I have all these ideas. Like, I want their input and I want them to feel like they're contributing to it as well. So,
yeah. And I think that like the collaborative storytelling, you know what I mean? It's a ton of fun. I started playing another bug hunt in like the world that I'm writing. And, you know, I had to tweak some things and adjust this and whatever. But like I told people that have played with me before, they know like, hey, you know, I have this idea for a character and I want them to do this or that. And it's like, okay, figure out a way that can fit into the story, you know, and in a way that makes sense. Like, well, you know, I want him to do this or that or be like this or that. And just like and sometimes you got to figure it out on the fly and then you integrate it. And then you have this like really awesome thread that you have to pull later on.
Yeah. No, but Mothership is a great system, by the way. It's probably one of my favorite systems I've discovered in the past year.
I am 110% the next show that I like write DM will be in Mothership.
It is. I fucking love it so much. It's my favorite. Yeah. I've run another bug hunt a couple times. I ran a like StarCraft world kind of scenario I based. Did that obviously on our show, our podcast. We also ran Orbital Decay, which is our Mothership show we do with Stories and Lies. So yeah, I fucking love Mothership. I can't wait to play more of it. So
yeah, I'm really excited to play more of it. Well, and also the like Suffer Not, I will say also is going to go through the ages. The whole thing is not going to be in the 1910s, right? Mm-hmm. At a certain point, you know, the story of Tate Clay and Birdie Johnson and the commission of preternatural and metaphysical phenomena will be explored to a satisfactory point. And then there'll be a time jump, you know, 30 years from then, 40 years from then. How have things changed? How have things developed? I have an outline for how the show may or may not go. All subject to change. And if it ends, if book one ends the way that I think it will, it's going to be really interesting to see how things shake up 30 years from then, you know?
So are you kind of approaching this network that you guys are putting together as Suffer Not will be the only show that you put out on Patreon? Like it will always be Suffer Not, or do you guys plan on doing other shows be released alongside of it? Or like, have you guys put much thought into that?
I have, and Sadesky and I have talked a lot about it. Yes, like I want to make more shows and put them out. And, you know, like the Patreon helps cover the costs, right? Like, you know, shit's expensive, man. Okay. You know that, right? But yeah, like I would like in a perfect world where, you know, things are monetized and I'm able to pay my bills by doing this type of thing. Yeah, I there would be Suffer Not and there would be Suffer Yes. And there would be sleeping high. Yeah, like there'd be all kinds of shows out there. And like I have ideas. It's just, you know, I work a lot.
Yeah, that definitely kills it. Like I've got right now as we record, I have to write intros for the rest of the Haunted Trail stuff. And then I also have to finish writing the next stuff that we're going to record, which is 13th Age 2nd edition. So I got to put that together and get that all put together by Sunday when we record next. So just keep piling stuff on my plate. And I'm like, I'll get there.
Yep. So. Well, and you got a job, you got kids. I don't know how you do it, man. I have my regular job and then I have this and then, but I was like, oh my God, I have no free time. I have free time. But like,
I got about like an hour and a half a night to like, that's my time to do stuff. So I'm like, if I'm not playing Obscura Expedition 33, I'm like, well, I probably should work on other stuff. So,
Yep. But you know, you get into a good cycle, and then it's you know, and then you got it. But,
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm excited for Tyler to take over and do the editing for when we start doing God's Teeth, because then I could just throw all of my attention into the next iteration of Haunted Trails or whatever it's going to be that I'm going to run next, and start kind of fleshing that out more. So, but we'll get there. I think. Right now, we're about halfway through Traveler. We got, story-wise, I think we're kind of hitting the middle part. And so I already planned on it being about 50 episodes. And we just released episode 27. So we're getting there.
Yeah. Well, and the editing thing, Sadesky and I split. He does like the I don't know, I call it the batch editing, bathroom breaks, big long tangents, right? He'll cut that out, puts it at the end of like the audio file, and then I'll come in and do kind of the fine tuning, the balancing, the sound effects, the music
and all that,
yeah. Maybe like rearrange a sentence so it sounds better or something. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's how, and then I write the show, the artwork, like I work with the artists and the website. I really at some point want to hire somebody to build a better website. I think it's fine, but
we don't even have a website, so you're ahead of us there. So.
Really? Oh man. Yeah. It's pretty easy. Like there's lots of different tools that are very plug and play, and you just need to have like a brand image in mind, some good pictures, art, whatever.
We just have like the one that comes with our where the fuck it is,
your RSS feed thing.
Yeah, that's whatever, like Pinecast. We just use, like we get a website from there, so we just use that. So I don't know, I've never been a really big website guy. Like I remember I did a podcast back in the day called Comics Brew, where we would review comics and beer, and the guy that we did it with was really big on the website. Like he wanted us to do like comic reviews, like every week have like an article up there to write. And I'm like, I don't have that much interesting shit to talk about. Like I don't, like I just don't. And we did. Like I would figure out things to talk about, and like I did a whole retrospective series talking about my favorite comic, Scalped, and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I remember looking up Scalped when you mentioned it last time. It looked really cool.
Oh, man,
but like for us, the website is just who are we? What do we do? And then like merch, the shirts and the stickers and the hats. And I try to like the shirts, especially there's a type of like graphic long sleeve that I wear all the time, with like the Labyrinth or They Live. I have a really cool glow in the dark They Live one where it's got designs
Tate.
all the way down the arms and everything. I love that shit. So that was like my thing. I'm like, I need that on the website at least. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't think we're at a merch point yet. I don't know what we'd make merch of too. Like that's kind of where we're at. Like I don't really know. That's not something we've ever really discussed. Like we've made jokes about making merch out of certain like comments we've made, but we've never actually pulled the trigger on sitting down and doing it. So, but
yeah, I really thought about there was a. Well, I shouldn't. It would be a spoiler if I brought it up, but I mean, there's certain basic ones. Hat, right? Stickers,
right? Yeah.
Shit like
and
that.
It's pretty easy nowadays. Like most of their sites that will just they have like they custom make it when someone orders it, right? They just put it on there and send it to you. Yeah, like Redbubble, I think is the one or whatever.
There's a handful now that you can do, and like these hats, for example, right? It's thread. It's not like just a cheap like a print on or something.
It's not like a patch on it or something. That's cool.
Yeah. And so and the website we go through, and I can message it to you afterward. Sure. You get like a sample, a number of samples every month where you can order something with a design at cost just to check it out. So like we did that. We ordered the shirts and the stickers and the sweaters and bullshit before, because I don't want to sell something. I don't want people buying something that fucking sucks. Right,
I'm with you. Yeah. That makes valid sense. So
yeah, and it's super easy to take. If you have the art, you have the graphics and whatnot. You just upload it. The margin's not as good. Like when we did Sleeping Low, the like limited edition shirts we did, we spent a boatload of money on a bunch of shirts that we ended up just giving away. So you don't have to worry about that when you go through those websites. At some point, exactly. I would like to do that. Because then you can have a more like integrated experience with like making the merch, but we're not at that point.
Right, exactly. That's kind of the like I'm trying to plan like when I'm like given like here's what I think we can accomplish this year, and then here's what I think we can look at next year and stuff like that. Trying to get some sort of forecast because I don't know. That's the way my brain works. Like I'm not necessarily like what's next for us. Just like, okay, here's what we can do content wise. Here's like a couple ideas I think would be fun for us to do. What do you guys want? Get their input too. So a lot of that's just trying to figure it out. Make sure we have enough recorded. Making sure we have enough time to transition if we're going to transition and whatnot. That's the big key right now. So
do you guys do any, and this doesn't have to be in like the released thing that we're doing, but do you guys do any kind of like marketing?
No. I mean, I'll post on Reddit every once in a while. Like I'll post on the Glass Cannon subreddit every once in a while, like when we release new shows. So like they have like a Fan Friday. So like on then I'll do like when we did Traveler, I posted there. When we release like a new arc of Delta, like Dark Thoughts, our Delta Green show, I would do it there. I'm going to do one this Friday for Haunted Trails. I'm going to put it up on there. But other than that, no, I mean, I'll post on the Pretend to Be People subreddit or the Discord every once in a while. I'll pop on there and put like in the self promo. No, I mean, I hate social media. So I post on Blue Sky is the one we use. Yep. We have an Instagram, but I don't want to use it. So I've been basically like, I told the others, like, this is, if you guys want to post stuff, go for it. Like, I'm not going to use this anymore. So, but someone please keep this up. And I don't think anybody has. I think pretty much I'm the only person doing promotion for the show.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Like, I've been printing out, like posters, with like the QR code and Old Parasol Productions brings you So Let It Be Written, right? And, I've handed those out before. That's a lot of fun. I don't know if you've interacted with people like in real life that are interested in the show or whatever. This year for Glass Cannon in Seattle, last year, and they did Portland only, I make dice on the side. That's just something I've been doing for a while. And I had a bunch of just leftover dice that I were like, the sets didn't fully form, so I just had bits and bobs. So I packaged them all. I made a bunch of business cards for us, and then I reached out to Stories and Lies and got business cards from them. And I just got a bunch of bags, and I put 2 business cards and a random dice in there. And we handed them out in Portland, and then Jake this year handed them out in Seattle. And so it was like, I'm on random Discords, and people are like, hey, man, I just saw your guys' business card at Glass Cannon in Seattle. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, at least somebody like got a dice. Like, dope. But it's kind of like a thing of like, I've got all this extra shit just laying here. If anything, they're going to be stoked to get a random die. And then if they listen to the show, cool. But the first year we did it, Jake is the better one at talking to people of all of us. Like, he's the much more charismatic. So he left the show a little bit early and went outside and started handing out business cards that we had. And the first dude just instantly just started talking about the stuff and like talking. Yeah, it was wild. But yeah. I was at I do a lot of writing and editing at coffee shops. I need I need to be in like a dedicated workspace, like without the temptations of video games and whatever devilish things. But like I was at a coffee. I have a friend who's writing an album, and so him and I will go to a coffee shop and write. And I printed out. I have 4 chapters of the show, like prepped, and I have like the artwork and whatnot and posters and bullshit. And so I was showing them to my friend. I was like, okay, so I got chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, right? This, which one do you like? What's your favorite? Just to get his opinion. And he picked So Let It Be Written. The one right now was his least favorite. And then he picked a different one was his favorite. And I was like, huh, okay. So I looked up at the barista. There were a couple baristas. I was like, hey, can I just ask you just an opinion question? And I laid them out, and I'm like, which one of these is your favorite? And she was like, oh, that one. And she picked the So Let It Be Written one. And I'm like, boom, like in my friend's face. And then she's like, oh, what is it? So I start explaining it. And, I explain it like, if it's somebody that's a little nerdy, like, oh, think like, a Critical Role type of thing, but, more produced, sound effects, maybe whatever, but like X-Files, but like 1910. I have this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I said Critical Role, one of the other baristas comes up and is like, what? And as soon as I said Call of Cthulhu, she's like, oh, I love Call of Cthulhu. And then as I'm talking to her about the show, then some other patron comes up and was like, oh, I heard about what's going on? I love podcasts. So I had this group of people all around me, like asking about the show, and all of that. I'm just trying to hang up a poster. That's all.
Yeah, but I had that happen at work. Like this new guy started, and we're talking, and he's just like, "Well, what do you do for fun?" I'm like, I make a podcast with my friends where we play D&D. It's essentially like X-Files meets Eldritch Horror. And he's like, "Oh, I love D&D." I'm like, "Well, I mean, it's not D&D like D&D. It's this game called Delta Green." I kind of explained the rules. He's like, "Well, shoot me the link. I'll listen to it." And so I was like, yeah, cool. So I sent it to him. And the next day he comes back. He's like, "You guys are fucking awesome." I was like, what? He's like, I listened, man. I made it through like 3 episodes. Like, my son's hooked. Like, he's already listened to like 7 or 8 episodes. I'm like, it's like, oh, that must have been the big bump in numbers we got to. He's like, yeah, man, my son's like telling all his friends about your show. I was like, oh, cool, man. Well, that's sweet. Like, I'm not good at, like, I'm not inherently self-promoting. Like, yeah. I don't like attention. So I have a hard time doing it. But,
yep. I'm the same way. And I've been struggling to find good ways to promote it. I've had a lot of, because I work at like the coffee shops and whatever, I've had a lot of exposure therapy where, somebody will see that I'm doing stuff in Ableton and like, oh, what is that? And then I'm talking to them about it, or when I'm hanging up a poster, oh, what are you hanging up? Or same thing with work, right? There's a couple guys at work, out in the plant that listen to it, and every single Tuesday. And one of the guys, before we released Suffer Not, I told him, I'm making a thing, and it's kind of like this old show. And he listened to all of Sleeping Low, and he harassed me for months to get the ending. He's like, where are the Zwarson files? Where's that? You need to really freeze Zwarson. And I'd get to work, and there'd be like a note on my desk that said, freeze Zwarson written on like a paper bag or something, like duct tape. And I thought about it. I thought about going back, but anyway, he really likes the new show too. So he's forgiven me on the ending.
Yeah. I mean,
happens.
it sucks when stuff like that happens, right? Like, but at the same time, like it's going to be what it's going to be. Like, you've moved on.
Yep.
You're obviously doing something better. I don't know what the other two are doing. It's not really necessarily my concern, but yeah, I think it's really cool that you continue doing this and you've still stuck by it and putting out another quality thing. Like, I gotta say, like, everything you guys have released so far has been top notch. Like, I really think you guys nail that sense of unease and dread, and just like, it's like a slow, like, I love slow burn movies, and every episode feels like a slow burn, like the tension's building towards something. I just think it's a really well done. I don't know if that's what you're intending to pull off when you guys do it and edit that style, but definitely just feels like a really good, just slow, methodical show.
Yeah, well, and I think just the character dynamics between Tate and Birdie, and just the way that Sadesky and Dubois like play, or just like how they are as people, and then the way that the show is written, right? And I'm not saying that every single chapter is going to be like a slow burn, what's going on in this town, and slowly, piece by piece, there's a riddle to be solved. I want there to be a variety, and so at some point there's going to be some high octane action where bullets are flying. But oh, dude, it's such a treat. Like Sadesky, when he listens back to the audio, and he's like, oh my God. And then he like sends me, like his hypothesis, and I have to just shrug my shoulders. I don't know. I can't, maybe. But in my head, I'm like, dude, you got it.
It's cool because the fact that there's like 2 of you, right? Oh, there's only 2 players. So it feels to me that like a show with only 2 people, I feel like it would move really quick, because it would just be like, all right, well, you 2 are doing these things. Like, you've only got 2 people. Like, you're focusing on them mostly. And so I think you guys just do a good job of making everything feel like real, and like, I don't want to say heavy, but you make everything feel lived in, if that makes sense. Like, it reminds me of like playing like Red Dead 2, where it's like you have to hold the button to open the book, and like some people hated that shit, but I loved that, where it's just like watching him dig through the box and then pull out the box, and then you got to hit a button to open the box. Like, it's just, that's what it feels like to me, where it's like everything just feels like purposeful and like impactful in a sense, like not in the sense of like a story, but like there's a reason behind everything. I think with 2 players, it seems to me like everything would go by pretty quick because there's just 2 of them. So like, you only got so much story you can tell with 2 people. There's not 4 people to bounce off of and kind of slow things down and have that talk with. But you do a good job of making it feel large with it. So
yeah, well, and I have to, I mean, good amount of the credit, right? Like Dubois and Sadesky really like indulge themselves in the character and the world.
And that's great. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I don't really have to give them like much direction. There's a couple, once in a while I'll be like, well, do you really like, would he do that? And either they'll say, oh yeah, he would, or they'll say, yeah, I forgot about that, but I really don't have to do that hardly ever. I've had to do that a lot more with other people. And don't get me wrong, I like play tested people before, we not settled, but graciously picked.
You decided upon.
Yes. We appointed Sadesky and Dubois. There were other people that we played with, and it did go a lot quicker because they don't care about the character. The improv isn't there as much. The world, the story of their character isn't as present. I had a guy who he had his character's backstory was that, and it was kind of, I was trying to run the same thing and like play test stuff I was writing. And so his character ran an occult bookstore. And I was like, okay, well, the characters are going to meet you there. And, we played it out, role played. When they get to the bookstore, I'm like, okay, what does your bookstore look like? And he's like, I don't know.
A bookstore.
Yeah. It just wasn't there. And, we all collectively would have to sit there and like, well, does it have windows? What's in the windows? Does it have shelves? What's on the shelves? How's it organized?
Right.
For some people that comes very naturally. For some people it doesn't. And, Sadesky and Dubois comes very naturally. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They are definitely two awesome. They're really great at living in the world and making it feel real. And yeah, they definitely both feel like real characters. Like they don't feel like they're, I wonder how much of them is actually in that character versus not. Like, that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out. I was like, is this something like he's really into and that's why I put it in this character? Like, just kind of that kind of stuff.
I can say, as somebody who knows them both pretty well, Birdie and Dubois in real life have not a lot in common. Okay. Birdie Johnson is definitely not a self-insert character. I don't think, at least. Clay, maybe. I don't know. Well, I'll let you keep thinking. But yeah, and like the at home, in between investigations was really important to me. Because and then there's so much you can do with that. And then like if there's drama at home, how does that interact with them during the investigation? Is Birdie going to be thinking about this thing? And, then, he does a worse job or they're looking into a Wendigo in the woods and it's like, hey, Clay, can I, talk to you about something? And then they, talk about fucking, the relationship or you know what I mean? Like, those are like human things that I think are impactful and
I think it's something that players really don't ever really focus on too. Like they're more focused on getting to the story points. So it's really special when you find a character like that. So
well, and like when I write characters, I get so into it. Like, what year were they born? Why are they named what they're named? How did the place that they grew up impact them? Into adulthood. What was their family dynamic like? Like I get so into it. Like I will print out like a 2-page thing, detailing. I have a lot of fun writing almost, what do you call it? Like a dossier on a character.
Oh, dang.
In like
That's
the third person, I have a lot of fun. Anyway. So when I play, like I get equally like super hyper into it, Hopefully someday I get to play a character like that.
That's the thing. I've yet to play a character for like a long period of time. Like I made a character for Misha's game she ran for us, but that was like, 10 or 11 episodes. Other than that, I really haven't played like a long-term character in a while. So, and even with him, I had the same thing. I was like, okay, like what's his backstory? Where's he at in life? Like, what's he feeling? Like, what is his motivations for doing this? Why, that kind of thing. Like,
yep.
Start trying to understand why I'm going to act the way I'm going to act. And instead of just being like, oh yeah, that makes sense for like the story. Like, no, how would you? So.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Like if a character is really good at something, why are they really good at it? If a character has a personality quirk, why? If a character is really, or just, I don't know, just like interesting characters are usually interesting because they're complicated. There's reasons for things, and you learn and you get to know them, and just like Oh yeah, like he just like goes to the gun range sometimes. That's why he can like shoot really well. It's like, okay, well, why? Like was his dad a big like gun guy, and so he took his son to the range all the time, and that's like the one of the few good memories he had of his alcoholic father, and so he held on to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, and it like right there. It's not hard for me to go down those rabbit holes. It's fun. And I want so badly to be a player again. God, let it happen. Someday.
Yeah, that's that's why I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do for our next Delta Green game that Tyler's going to run. Like, I got to figure out a good character arc for that. So I'll get there. It'll happen. So, well, I think I've eaten up enough of your time.
Oh, so. You and I, we're in sync.
Gotcha.
We're in sync.